Dr. Mark Changizi here with your Science Moment. What do you say to people who say this? They say, oh, look, if you really care about this cause, then get off social media and do something about it. Or, yeah, but what is that person doing besides just talking on social media? Right? Now, I think this is a deep misunderstanding of the power of social media and the power of speech and the power of free expression. Free expression is the manner in which society slowly moves towards the truth. That's how it happens. And it happens not because there's a central planner moving us on social media towards the truth. It happens because you and I and she and him and a billion others are duking it out, right? We're arguing, we're making the case that here's what I think is true. No, I think this is true. And I say, you don't know what you're talking about. And then it turns out one of us is right. Reputation flows from one to the other. And that's a small little change that happened. But when that happens, and it happens trillions of times, because these are pairwise pairs amongst billions of people, so it's much more than trillions, right? These are tremendous, unbelievable numbers of interactions and reputation transfers that occur. And it only occurs when you're in the public square, involved in these kinds of discussions. Now, so for example, think about the same argument that someone could say for science. Hey, Mark, if you really care about science and making discoveries and stuff like that, you would stop just publishing. That's the analogy. That's the exact isomorphism, right? Because in science, my expression in the case of science is just putting out the whole paper, saying, here's what I think, or here's why I think Susie's group was wrong. It's actually this. And then they do a counter and say, here's the new evidence that I think that I'm right. These are the posts in science, in that network. So you can't say in science, well, if you really cared about science, you would stop participating in the network of communication that is science itself. That's social media in terms of science. It's these network of publications that are interacting with one another, citing with one another, arguing with one another, betting reputation in some sense against one another in terms of, well, I think that here's why I think they're super wrong, and then it turns out maybe I was wrong, so I turn out to lose reputation in that case as well. I mean, there's some differences I won't get into here in concerns of why we bet reputation in social networks and what it's for. It has to do with sort of conveying confidence, and we can convey confidence with math in some sense and evidence and statistics in the case of science. But the point that's similar is that posts in social networks are just like publications in the science network. That is the fundamental way that science works, is millions of these posts and interactions between arguing scientists. Same thing in social networks, same thing for free expression in society more generally. So what else are you going to do? How else do you think you're going to save the world? How many of us are lawyers that can go to court and force it to happen, right? And forcing it to happen often doesn't have as many effects as you think it does, right? Most of these cases end in dismissal. Most of these cases lead to less clear qualitative outcomes that are in your favor than you would have wished. Most of these cases, even if they're as you wish them to be, just end up ignored the next time these things happen. The way that you can actually affect change is by convincing minds, by changing minds, by changing narratives so that it accumulates the kind of wisdom that you believe is right. And the way that you do that is by saying smart, intelligent, convincing things in respectable, somewhat respectable ways. I mean, you should be trash talking to some sense. You've got to show confidence, but not, overly so. And you do this, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you grow in reputation, as do other colleagues and connections of yours. And over time, you can affect that narrative so that the next generation takes it for granted, for example, that no one should be coerced to have a medication. For example, right? These things, even if they're written in the books, won't stop entire populaces from forcing it to be the case if it becomes a righteous good. The way that you turn it from something that's not, from something that is a righteous good to something that can never be done to people again, is by changing the narrative, by changing what the baseline beliefs are across everybody. And the way that you do that is by getting in the debate. And today's soapbox, today's public square is Twitter and these other social media enterprises. So don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, what are you doing besides just speaking about it, right? What are you doing about that besides using your free speech powers to do something about it? That is often the best thing that you can do, especially if you have a larger voice. And often you can get a larger voice in time by continuing to do good practice, which is good, careful, solid, well-argued points. And that was your science moment. If you haven't seen my Vino Optics technology, Vino Optics is a company, a small tech startup that comes out of my 2006 discovery about why we have color vision. We have color vision to see emotion on bare skin. In that light, well, changes how you think about color blindness technology. Color blindness technology that everybody else has, all these other techs, actually hinder your ability to see emotions on bare skin, the color signals on bare skin. They actually hinder it. They make it worse. Our color blindness technology is the only one in the world that augments that. Our technology can be used by medical personnel, paramedics, nurses, to augment your ability to see veins. No batteries, just white light. That's good with no glare, and you can see veins better because it's seeing those oxygenation modulations of blood under the skin. That's what allows you to see blushes and blanches and flushes, and also it augments your ability to see where the veins are because those are the deoxygenated spots. And also our FreeX sunwear for everybody, color enhancing sunwear. Even Luxottica and these massive trillion-dollar companies don't have technology that actually augments color vision. Take a look at vinooptics.com.